Hello, welcome to today's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're on our Christmas theme today. You can see this beautiful looking puzzle by the Filipino constructor Sed Holaysan, which I discovered on a Facebook group earlier, and yeah, it just looks gorgeous, so I thought we'd have a go at it. It's an arrow Sudoku, and we haven't done one of those for a while. How do arrow Sudokus work? Well, the way it works is that whatever you put in a circle, the circle has to be the sum of the cells along the arrows. So if we made this cell a 7, for example, that would make these two cells have to add up to 7, and these two cells have to add up to 7. Now, I did put this in my software quite carefully. So this circle, for example, down here is going to be the sum of this cell, and this cell. So just do take some care. You can see that I've drawn the lines, quite critically, so that this line, for example, is only seeing those 3 cells, not these 2. Just to mention as well, those of you who enjoy the crossword content, I've uploaded a video of Mark solving this month's Club Monthly Special on the Times website. Now, this is an absolutely brutal cryptic crossword, and therefore, if you have a streak of Schadenfreude, it's worth watching, seeing Mark struggle. So that'll go live tomorrow morning UK time, and there'll be a Sudoku video in the evening, or a puzzle video in the evening. I haven't decided which yet. Now, with that, I'm going to have a go at this. If you want to have a go, do click on the link under the video. That will take you to our webpage where you can play along. And let's go. Pencil some 1s at the bottom. 8s, look, these 8s have a nice impact on the top left hand or top right hand box. We'll be able to pencil 8s in there, therefore 8s down here as well. Must be a 6 in one of those 2 squares because of these 2 6s. Oh, in fact that square's got to be an 8 because look, we've got these 8s force an 8 into this square. And there's the first use of the arrow constraint. We know there's an 8 in one of these 3 squares, so is it possible that the 8 is along the arrow? Now, if the 8 is on the arrow, we'd have to put a 9 into the circle, but that's not going to work here because of this 1. We can't put a 1 and an 8 on this line because there's already a 1 in the box. So the 8 must go into the circle. And this is very nice now, because we've got 2 cell arrows coming off this 8. So how do we make 8 in 2 cells without using 1 7, because we can't use a 1? It must be 2 6 and 3 5. And there's already a 5 in the row here, so this one must be a 2 6 combination, and there's a 6 here. So that's 6, that's 2. And that must be 5 and 3 in this order because of the 5 down there. So we're off and running. And now we've got a 6 in this square. So this circle has got to be quite a large number. In fact, it's got to be a 7 or a 9. And it can't be a 9, because if it's a 9, this square would have to be a 3, and that would repeat the 3. So that's a 7. This is a 1. 1's down there. Yeah, okay, now this is interesting. If we look along this row and look at the 3 here, we know the 3 must be in one of those 3 cells. Well, it can't be in the circle, because if we put the 3 in the circle, these 2 squares would have to be a 1 and a 2, and they can't be. So the 3 is on the arrow. Now, the other digits we've not placed apart from the 3 in this row here are 4, 7 and 9 by the looks of it. Oh, and in fact 7 we can immediately fix, has to be in this square because it's the only place a 7 can go. That resolves that this is a 3-4 pair, and this must be the 9. Oh, it's very nice setting this. Look at this 2-5 pointing at that square. So we've got the 7 in here, we've used 3 and 4, Therefore, these two squares have got to be 2 and 5 or 1 and 6. Well, they can't be 2 and 5 because 2 and 5 are both ruled out from this square. So this must be 6 and 1, and it must be in this order because of the 1 over here. Now there must be a 1 in one of those squares. 6. What now? These squares have got to be 2, 5, and 9. Oh, you're right. Okay, so we've got the 2 and the 5 here. So these two have got to be 2 and 5. And the 9 must be in this square. Locks the 9 over here. This square must be a 4 or a 7. And let's just take another stare. Must be a 6 in one of those squares. This 7 is the sum of these two squares. Now we know this is a 3 or a 4, so we know this is a 3 or a 4. Now it can't be a 3, so that's a 4, that's a 3, that's a 4. Eights here mean there's an 8 in one of those squares. There's an 8 in one of these two squares. Now that's a little bit interesting. So now we know that one of these circles definitely contains an 8. Now, can we tell which one? Yes, we can. We can actually. Look at this column and this row. So the options for this square are actually quite limited. There's no way that this can ever contain a 1, 2 or a 3, because if I mean, let's try a 3 just for this. Obviously these 3 cells would all have to equal 1 if we put a 3 in there. So this is just not 1, 2 or 3. It can't be 4, it can't be 5, it can't be 6, it can't be 7, and it can't be 9. So that one is the 8. So now this square must be very restricted because we've already got a 3 on the sum. So what are the options here? This can't be 1, 2 or 3 either for the same reasons. It can't be 4, it can't be 5. Can't be 6, it can't be 7, 8, so that's a 9. Therefore, this square and this square have got to sum up to 6 because we've already got a 3 in the sum. And these two cannot be 1 and 5 because there's a 5 in the box. Wow, so this is a 2, this is a 4. Two, 4, that means there's a 4 in one of those squares. The 9 fixes it. Sorry, I wasn't focusing on the right pencil mark there. That's a 4, that's a 7. This should be a 3. That locks a 3 into one of those squares, which means there's a 3 in one of these two positions. Now, we've got a 1 here, so these two squares have got to sum up to 7. You can see that's going to be quite restricted. I'm not sure, can I definitively prove which version is which there? Probably can, I'm just not seeing how to. Right, let's look somewhere else. Let's just check whether or not I'm missing loads of obvious things. There must be a 9 in one of these two squares. Where can a 7 go? Well, this can't be a 7, because if this is a 7, both of these squares have to equal 1. So this is a 7 over here. Oh, now that's surprising. That locks a 7 onto one of these totals. Well, it can't be the 8 total, because otherwise these two squares would both have to add up to 1. You can't make two cells equal 1. So this must be the 7, and these must both be 1. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Now that must mean that's a 1, that's a 1. Well, it's a lovely puzzle, isn't it? So now you can see, because of this one here, these two cells have to sum up to 7 because of the 8 in this box. The only way of making 7 that's left is with a 2 and a 5. Now, surprisingly, I don't think I can resolve which way round that goes. No, okay, well that's still going to help me though, because that must be a 3 now. Therefore this square is a 4 to make the 8 total correct. Must be a 4 up here. This has to be a 6, it's the only place a 6 can go in the box, therefore this is a 2, 5. There's loads of 2, 5s. Look at all these 2, 5s. That must be a 3. These, oh actually there's loads of things going on I'm missing here. So now we've got 2, 4 and 5 into these squares. These are 2, 5 and 9. We've got a 2 and a 9 there, so that's a 5 actually. This must be a 4, because it can't be a 2 or a 5, because we've got the 2 and the 5 in the row already. That's another 2, 5 pair. This must be 7, 8, 9, so this one is the 9. This is the 7, this is the 8. That resolves it, that's an 8. This is a 4, just unwinding pencil marks. These two squares have got to be 3 and 6. You can see from the pencil marking, if I know that there's a 3 in one of these two positions, it must be this one. 3, 6. Oh, 2, 5 again. Well, hopefully we're going to find a way to disambiguate this 2 and 5. These two squares have got to be 3 and 7. You can see there's a 7 there, so that's a 7, that's a 3. These two have got to be 4 and 6, there's a 4 there, so that's that way round. This is a 6. These two squares have got to be 2 and 4. Ah, now that's going to be helpful, isn't it? Because this 4 is going to help us out. So this is the 4, this is a 2. 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5. And I think that was probably the thing that we needed to notice. So now we need 3 and 9 into these squares here. Now the 3 should disambiguate that. Yeah, they do. What a lovely puzzle. Lovely puzzle. Really like that, Sed. Thank you very much for constructing such a festive themed Sudoku and of such high quality. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Be interested in as always, in how you found it and whether you found some better logic than I did. And we'll be back soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.